Okay.
Hi.
It's us, the Wander Women. We're out here in front of our RV stretching.
Yes. Just for fun.
So this is our video that you guys wanted us to do to show you what we do to stretch our gracefully aging bodies.
Yeah.
So
So we're showing stretches that we did on the trail.
Yep.
Yes.
And Chrissy's going to show a few that we did.
That we do every day.
Home. We do tons of start incorporating stretching into your daily routine to get ready for your hike.
You know
That's
what?
I would do.
Yeah, but when I was younger, I hardly stretched. But now that I'm older, I really have to stretch. Keeps your body going. It really keeps me going. And then Lynn's going to show some stretches she did for her foot recovery, which some people have asked about. So we'll show that. And as far as the feet exercises, I'm going to put a link in the comment once I post a video to the foot exercises we did to prepare, and we continue to do even during the trail. It's the foot strengthening and stretching exercises. Caroline Jordan is the person who does these videos. She's a YouTube channel, and I'm just going to put the link on there. And she does a lot of different videos on a lot of different stretches and body parts, and a lot on the feet. But I'll show you the one that we did. And then we also have part of being solution oriented. We hook in with this YouTube video called
Bob and Brad. You can look it up on YouTube as Bob and Brad Physical Therapist, or we can put that link.
Yeah, Bob and Brad Physical Therapists, and they show you, if you just said, man, this part of my leg hurts, and you look it up, my lower calf, they'll show you all kinds of things, stretches and issues, and so we use them a lot for our solutions when we have problems. But anyway, all right, so here's our videos.
Yeah.
All right.
They're here.
Start stretching.
Yay! Stretch that aging body out. All right.
Okay.
Hey, before we start our exercises, I wanted to, somebody had asked about what a toe spacer is. So we talked about the correct toes, and we did a video on those. Just check out our foot exercise videos that we did before we did the Appalachian Trail, but I don't think we ever showed you this toe spacer, a single toe spacer. So it looks like this, just a little piece of rubber, really soft. And you can get it at Walgreens or Walmart. And I use these because the correct toes spread, it goes in between every toe, and it spreads the toes out so wide that the Hoka shoes don't work with that. The Ultras do, because they have a really wide toe box. So I use a single toe spacer between my big toe and my second toe, because I have my toes kind of curving in. It's like a bunion, and I have arthritis in my toe joint. So this is what I use. That's where you put it. You put it in between your toe. They have some skinnier ones that you put in between the other toes if you want, but that's kind of how I use it.
Okay, I was just going to show some of the stretches that I did. I had plantar fasciitis, and these did seem to help. I mean, eventually I got a shot, but this kept me from getting worse, and this kept me on the trail, and these really helped a lot. So the first one you can do these in your tent, which is perfect. Do it at night and do it in the morning. So you pull back your toes here, have your foot angled back like that, and you rub as hard as you can this tendon about 10 times. So you just rub it as you hold that, and it really helps loosen that tendon, which is causing the pain back in your heel. You do that about 10 times. You wait a few moments, and then you go ahead and do it again. And you do that 3 times to each foot. That seemed to be a really good exercise. The other one that the podiatrist showed me, now being out on the trail, I don't have the big boot or anything, so I couldn't do that. She said, same thing, you hold that foot back at as far as an angle as you can with these, but you use this towel to like hold your toes back. It's kind of, once you get it, it's good. And you hold, it's probably better barefoot. Anyway, you hold your foot back and you hold it like that for 20 minutes. But I tell you what, she said do that every night. She said you will not have to wear a boot to sleep in at night. She was assuming I would be probably going home eventually and having to, get a boot. But out on the trail when you don't have a boot, and you can hold that for 20 minutes, and I tell you what, it worked. So those are some specific stretches for that.
And what is the boot?
The boot, you can buy those. You can buy them online, Amazon. It comes up on your foot, and it holds your ankle back like this while you sleep. And she said you can put a wedge in there or something to hold the toes back too. She said the most important thing though is you've got to be stretching this back here in your calf. You need to stretch those muscles and tendons, and you need to stretch these toes back. So
All right.
most people will get the boot and have to sleep in it all night. She said if you would just keep that boot on even 20 minutes at night, you'd be fine. So that's something you could try too.
Okay. Any more?
No, that's what I've
That's
got.
pretty.
That's it.
It's pretty good. And you could do that in your tent. That's really good.
Yeah.
3 stretches that I do when I'm standing up. So that, like, let's say at the end of the day, so I'm warmed up, my muscles are warmed up, and I'm going to do some stretching before I, stop moving around, basically. So I do this stretch, which I don't know the names of any of these. I mean, these are all stretches that you do in different stretching videos or whatever, but I do this stretch, and it kind of stretches out your lower back, and you can, just kind of keeps that stretch going. And then after you do that for a bit, you can move it forward and push out a little bit with your knees. So you're kind of doing this, and you can, stretch these inner muscles in here. And then I do where this is you put your legs apart, and you're trying to get these basic hip flexor muscles right here. This is a super simple exercise, and you just are basically going from one side, holding it. I hold it for a count of 5, 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,000. The other side, and I do 15 of those, count each side. Then I do this, these are all stretches I do standing, I'm not on the ground. So then I do this lean over stretch where you're coming down. This doesn't have to be perfect. If you're not flexible, it doesn't matter. You can kind of bend your knees if you need to, and you grab your ankles and you push your head in towards your knees. You don't have to be perfectly, it doesn't have to be the perfect stretch. So you do that, and I hold this one for a minute. And as you do it, you start to feel everything kind of loosen up. So after a minute of that, and you can do a couple of them, it's a great stretch. And you can also move it so that you can really feel your hips in it. You can try and really, as you're doing it, feel what's tight on you. And then the last stretch I do is just trying to pedal out my Achilles. So go like this, and you're just basically, doing this stretch. And you're gentle. So you're gently stretching out your Achilles, and you want to do this when you're warmed up, not cold. Okay? And that's pretty much the 4 basic things I do. When you're sitting, when you take a break, when you're at the shelter, when you're sitting on, every once in a while there'll be a bench of some kind. You can do this stretch, and you basically are just sitting. You put your foot on your opposite leg, and you just barely lean forward. So you're just barely leaning your torso forward like this. You will totally feel this stretch right here in your hip flexor, and you can do that and just hold it. Do the other side. Just barely lean forward with your torso. You're going to feel it. And you know how stretching is.
That's a good one.
Yeah. There's one training exercise that you can do that works on your balance and your strength, and it's easy to do. You can do it anywhere. I did this. I just did this 100 lunges for 30 days in a row. Do a month of 100 lunges. If you decide to do that, work yourself up. Start with 20, and then 30, and then 40. Don't start with 100 because you'll be so sore. But anyways, here's the basic exercise.
Lunge walking.
So, and it's so good for you, so good for multiple things. And you can do it like you're just stepping out. You want to make sure that your toe's in front of your knee. That's really the only thing. Your knee comes down so it's almost touching the ground. And then you just walk like this, right? You can do it with your hands on your hips if you like. If you start to feel it in your back or your knees, you can bend over more and do it like this. That's a little easier on Super good exercise. You'll notice a difference in your strength, and you'll notice a difference in your balance as you're walking across rocks or doing that. You will notice a difference if you start doing those regularly.
Okay, so I had the hardest part when I was hiking the Appalachian Trail with my Achilles, but not even really up here. It was more down in my heel, where I'd have burning down in the heel part of my Achilles. So a stretch that, a couple of stretches that I would do out there, and I do all the time. One is your regular calf stretch, which you just put the heel on the floor. You can hold onto a wall, hold onto something. So that's a normal calf stretch, like that. And it stretches your calf out. You hold it. Count to 10, count to 15, hold it. But the one that really helped me is this lower one. So I'm trying to stretch here. And if you put one leg forward and you're stretching the back leg, and you just keep your heel on the floor and move your knee down, and you bend it until you feel it right here. Right here. That right there is one of my favorite stretches. And you hold that, count to 10, count to 15, however long you want to do it. And then you switch and do the next foot. And you always just bend that leg, and you can feel it stretching. That was a critical one that I did. Another one is I get stiff sometimes in my hips, like right in here. So this psoas muscle here. So very similar. You put a leg forward, you're stretching the back leg. Try to keep your leg straight there. And you have to mess with this one until you feel it, but you just kind of go forward until you feel a stretch right in here. So you hold that, same, 10, 15 seconds. And you switch, and I usually do about 3 on each one, or however many. You know, it feels good, so you want to keep doing them, but you're stretching the back leg. Every time you do that, you're stretching the back leg, so you're getting that. And then, of course, I always do these. We all kind of do these on each leg, which you're stretching in here. Just hold your leg up. And some that I do, and I could do these in the tent too, but I do these all the time at home, is I try to stretch my hips out a lot, and my hamstrings and my rear end a little bit. But I like this one, and I don't know if you could see that from there, Lynn. I don't know if you need to come up. But you take one leg and put it on the other knee, and you pull up the leg like this, and it stretches right here. And you switch it and do the same thing. Really stretches right in here. And another one similar to it is just put your knee all the way over the other one and pull up. And that stretches back in here. Do that on both legs. And another one I love to do, because I get really stiff in my hips, is I'll do this one and just kind of pull that hip over like that and hold that. And you do that on both legs. So those are ones that I do a lot. I do them all the time, even when I'm not hiking, but when I'm hiking, I try to do it a couple of times a day. Or even in your tent on this one in the morning. Seemed to help me a lot. Okay. Okay, so after you watch the foot exercise one that we link you to, I applied as many of those exercises as I could. But what I found is every morning when I would get up, so pretend I'm in the tent right now, I would get up and my tendons all the way through here are really stiff in my heels. And I would have burning in my heels here often. I did a couple of things. I massaged the heels a lot. And sometimes I'd rub them with my knuckles like that, and that really helped. But as far as stretching, and before I even got out of the tent, I would start stretching my feet, and I'd pull them towards me, and I would just be doing this. And I would do a bunch of those. And I would do, I don't know if you can see this, I'll kind of go this way, but I would do them out, in, and just stretch them, and you could do the circles with them both ways. Before I even got out, I would be doing these things. Sometimes I would pull them like that, but really just loosening them up. And then once I got out of the tent, which was always very hard, I'd be backing out, I'd be hobbled like this, but that's when I would stop and do those exercises like this. and then you slowly kind of get warmed up. But those were some of those I applied when I was in the tent. And as many as those, oh, one other thing, let me grab this one. This was my luxury item. It's a little ball, and I brought this with me as one of my luxury items. And in the videos you do with the foot exercises, you'll see that this is part of them, and so I brought that, and I would use this where I could, sometimes in the shelter, sometimes in the hostel. I would do those foot exercises with this ball, and that really helps the blood flow to your feet, and it feels good. So that helped me a lot too. Okay, so this, of course, we didn't have hiking. It wasn't on the trail, but I think every hostel should have one of these things. But if you get one of these, they have different softness. This is a black one, so it's harder. But we use this all the time, and this is great at home. You can roll your back. I love it for my back. You can roll your back on it. You can, they give you, when you buy one, all the little exercises that you can do with it, but a lot of times the muscles here get really sore, so this is good to kind of roll out. You can roll out your IT band is a common injury. Yeah, the tightness in your IT band, which goes down from your hip to your knee, so you can roll that out, and that helps. So there's a lot of things you can do, and we use this thing all the time at home. This thing is just like a critical piece of equipment. So anyway, all right. Filming our little exercises. Okay. I can't get, can somebody help me over here? I can't get up.
Are you stuck? Hold on, give me a second.
You hurt your back?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. Oh, oh.